was always the Jags.
Always the Jags.
It's always the Jags.
Always the Jags.
Welcome into Always the Jags, your number one podcast for all things Jacksonville, all things Jaguars, all things Duval. Man, oh man, is it a beautiful time to be a Jags fan. This might be the best time to be a Jags fan in the history of the franchise, at least since I could talk, because back in 1999, I couldn't really talk yet. So it was hard to be that excited about anything or talk about anything right then because I didn't know how to talk yet. I was 2, by the way, in case anybody's confused about that. I was born in 97. So actually, I wasn't even 2 yet. But anyway, the Jaguars are cruising. They are rolling. They are dominating. They are sliding. Trevor Lawrence is absolutely, like, I can't even say he's crushing it. He's force choking it and throttling it across the galaxy, right? Because the narrative was, like, if you look at each of the games that the Jaguars have entered this winning streak on, the narrative started with, wow, you barely survived the Raiders, right? And then you blow that lead at the Texans, and I'm amazed that everybody wrote them off. Everybody wrote them off. Like, wow, you blew. And again, it was to a backup quarterback, but against a Super Bowl caliber defense, which people are now understanding. And the more games the Texans win, the more that loss seems understandable, even though it was a hard, a horrendous choke job by us. But still, that loss looks better and better in retrospect. And again, it was to a backup quarterback, right? So you come out of that game, and I think Liam Coen was right. I think the Jaguars don't have, I think that game was good for the Jaguars because I think we don't take out our frustration on the Chargers the next game and go 35-6. And the whole narrative around that was like, oh, wow, what a fluke. Or, oh, wow, Justin Herbert's guys are injured. Justin Herbert is still great. Trevor Lawrence is still trash, even though Trevor Lawrence just beat Justin Herbert 35-6. The Chargers are still a playoff team, and the Jaguars still aren't. You know, it's just a fluke. The Chargers are hurt, you know, all this stuff. 35-6. Okay, whatever. Call it a fluke. Then we go to Arizona. Oh, Jaguars barely survived the Cardinals. Every game the Cardinals have won this year has been by a single-digit score. Do you hear anybody giving the 49ers flack for beating the Cardinals by a score, by 3 points? And the Jaguars, well, yeah, we had to go into overtime, but we beat them by 3 points. Okay, whatever. And again, they were at home, by the way. Don't forget that. Anyway, whatever. Head over to Nashville. Trevor looks phenomenal. Hank's 22 on him, 22 to like 9 or something like that. Titans get slayed in Nashville. Oh, you know, it's just the Titans. Like, what are you gonna do? It's just the Titans, man. You can't get too excited about beating the Titans. Okay, fine, whatever. Now, the Colts, who had been a steamrolling offense this entire season, and then kind of went into a bit of a hiccup for a couple of games, come to Jacksonville. The Colts are reeling. Jaguars are starting to get on a roll. Jaguars dropped 33 on them. The Colts scored like 20. One of those touchdowns well into garbage time. Trevor Lawrence had to be taken out of the game because we had already won the game. Oh, well, the Colts are sliding and they lost their starting quarterback. Oh, during the whatever. Okay. Can't even give us credit for the Colts. Jets come to town. Ooh, trap game for the Jaguars. Are they going to be able to keep this play coming against the Jets? Are the Jets going to be able to upset them? Are the Jaguars going to be able to prove they're a contender? Trevor Lawrence goes for 6 touchdowns on the Jets. 48-20. The narrative. Oh, well, you know, it's the Jets. Like, you know, we can't give Trevor Lawrence his flowers. He just beat the Jets. He just did exactly what we told them they were. All the Jaguars did was exactly what we told them to do if they want to prove that they are in contending status, which is dog walk the Jets. Okay, fine. Now the ultimate test comes. The number 1 team in the AFC. One of the top 3 defenses in the league. Some might argue it's the best defense because they beat the Texans. In Mile High, one of the hardest places to play because it's hard to get used to. In December, the weather, it wasn't cold, but, you know, colder than Jacksonville for sure. Most people pick the Denver to win. Are the Jaguars going to be able to beat them? And I think the narrative would have went so sour if the Jaguars hadn't been able to win. We won by 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns. And this was the kind of game where it was over halfway into the fourth quarter. And the Broncos were hoping for some kind of miracle, and all we were doing was just running out the clock so that there couldn't be one. Like, this was not just a back and forth. Oh, the Jaguars eked out with one. This was a game, and it kind of was back and forth at the beginning. Like, there were some blows on both sides. But this is a game where the Jaguars, when it was time to take control, we took control of this game and didn't let it go. When the Broncos went up to, first of all, we got up to a 17-10 lead by kicking a long field goal right before half. When the Broncos tied it with a touchdown of their own, 17-17, what did we do? Better yet, what did Trevor Lawrence do? Took us down the field and put us up 24-17. Now the pressure's back on the Broncos to score. I can't remember if that was the fumble or if we just got them to a 3-and-out. And then we go down and we score again. And after that moment, it was essentially, that was all she wrote. Once we went up 31-17, the Broncos tried to fight back. We ended up putting up another field goal on them, 34-17. And when you have a good defenses are not built to come from behind. I know the Texans did that, right? But even still, in general, good defenses are not built to come from behind, because most good defenses, you start by stopping the run, but when you're ahead, it gives you the ability to tire out a defense by running the ball on them, because that's the best way to tire out a defense. Just keep running the ball. And we did that, and we drained the clock. Everybody's talking about, before this game, the narrative was, yeah, Trevor Lawrence had 4 touchdowns against the Jets, but did you see Bo Nix had 4 touchdowns? I mean, yeah, Trevor Lawrence had 6 touchdowns against the Jets, but did you see that Bo Nix had 4 touchdowns against the Packers? I mean, come on. That's impressive. That's crazy. And like, yeah, it was impressive. I don't get Bo Nix his flower. I don't think he played poorly in this game. But then what a response by Trevor to go out and put 4 touchdowns on the Broncos. I was literally watching an episode of First Things First, right? And he had his Mahomes Mountain. And he had Trevor, I think it was like about the above the middle tier. I think there was like 3 guys. Nick Wright was talking about Trevor, and he had Bo Nix right below him. And another analyst went back and forth with him for 5 minutes about, yeah, no, Bo Nix needs to be higher than Trevor. You need to swap Bo Nix and Trevor. I know Trevor had 6 touchdowns, but it was against the Jets. Bo Nix had 4 touchdowns against the Packers. We need to swap them, because that doesn't really make sense. His entire argument was that Bo Nix had 4 touchdowns against the Packers, which is a much better team than Trevor having 4 touchdowns against the Jets. And then Trevor goes into Bo Nix's stadium and drops 4 touchdowns on Bo Nix's team, on his defense. Like, there's no better way to respond. It's absolutely glorious. And Liam Coen might be the pettiest, most, petty is, I don't know if the right word, scrappiest coach in the league. He just might be. Because when Sean Payton was up there, I don't even think Sean Payton was trying to like insult or be mean. I think he just wasn't really thinking or realizing that he was giving fuel to a team. But when he went up there and said, oh, yeah, you know, they're a small market, but a really good team. In his mind, he was probably giving them a compliment. Little did he know that he was actually the one pouring the gasoline on the flame that was going to burn down his 11-game winning streak. Little did he know, because Liam Coen, throughout practice, Liam Coen in every drill was like, did that feel like a small market team hit? Did that feel like a small market team play? Are you small market? Nobody wants to be small. And like I said, I don't think Sean Payton realized what he was doing. But then when Liam Coen went in that press conference and was like, yeah, it's nice for a small market team to be able to go up there in Denver and Mile High and put the brakes on him and go do what we did and take care of business. Yeah, Liam. Yeah, it is. From the Robert Saleh stuff to the disrespect to, again, every time people are like, okay, we're going to give the Jaguars their flowers, they find a way to not give the Jaguars their flowers. And every time we're going to continue to exploit that and continue to be on this roll that we have. I mean, we haven't had 11 wins in the season since 2005. I was like 8. This is like third grade for me. And I didn't even know what like football was back then. I hadn't even watched the Super Bowl yet. And so, for us to be able to be on this track now, I think we do need to close it out. We do need to win out. We can't let the Colts, if Daniel Jones is not playing, there's no reason for the Colts to beat us. And I think that's the last narrative like we can put to bed of backup quarterbacks having the edge on us for some reason. We kind of showed it in the Colts game, but like let's put it to bed with the backup quarterback starting. Because like 2 of our losses this year have come to backup quarterbacks. It's crazy. Crazy. But I think that's a narrative we can put to bed by beating the Colts. So, and just I just it's one of those things where it's like we all thought this is how Trevor could play. And I don't know if it's a combination of Liam Coen using Trevor's legs, but some of those play calls, like the touchdown run, fakes the handoff, and then Trevor Lawrence takes it and runs it in. I've been saying all year, let's use Trevor's legs. Let's do some things like that. Keep the defense honest. Use that punishing run game, but then make Trevor be that 12th guy you got to account for because he can just tuck it and run the other direction where there's no defenders. It was the perfect call for a touchdown, literally a throwback to one of his highlights at Clemson. And I like how, now it's one of those things that I think is only going to work every once in a while, right? But I did like how Liam Coen didn't simply view it as a flash in the pan, and maybe it was Trevor who made this call, but there was another play later in the game where Trevor kept it. And it was, instead of heading it to the running back, he kept it to go the other way. The defensive end read it and wrapped Trevor up immediately and took him down right there. It was like a loss of 4 yards, right? And it's a bad looking play on paper. But it shows that they weren't unwilling to go away from it. Because again, when you sprinkle those in every night and you're not afraid to go away from it, now that means on the next game, a defense doesn't know, is Trevor going to keep it or give it to ETN? So if one guy is kind of paralyzed, seeing if Trevor's going to keep it, if he actually gives it to ETN, then that could end up a huge play because he's thinking he's going after ETN, because he's thinking he's going after Lawrence when ETN has it. So it's the kind of things that can keep someone on their toes because again, you don't want defenses to be like, well, this play usually goes to ETN, but it can go to Lawrence. They'll be kind of thinking like, oh, this could go to ETN or Lawrence. So you either have to take one guy out the box or make one guy a spy. And if a guy is a spy, that's more ground he has to cover to get to the running back. So it's a perfect play call and a perfect design. And to me, the way Trevor, the thing that I'm most impressed with through all of these games is how Trevor has just been an assassin on third down. And I think the important thing that I'm taking away from this game is, like, number one, like I said, Trevor's been an assassin on third down, and he's learning that sacks are okay, but also I can get away from them. And like the best way to put it, the Broncos had 5 sacks on Trevor. 5 sacks. That's a lot, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to lose, but that is a lot of pressure, right? Because all those sacks come from pressure. And a couple of them were like line of scrimmage sacks. So like Trevor ran up in the pocket and was able to turn a negative sack into something that just equaled out, didn't gain a yard, loss of a down kind of play. But with Trevor learning that, like, I can take a sack, I don't have to throw the ball and put it in harm's way when there's a guy bearing down on me. Like, let the pressure get to me and just take the sack. It's okay. And again, the play calling of Liam Coen and Trevor being such an assassin on third down, like, you get the Jaguars into 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 15, it's not even a guarantee. It's not even like it's an advantage for the defense. You just don't know. Like in the 49ers game, he ripped one of Travis Etienne for 15 yards on 3rd and 15. And that was a huge reason why we were able to win the game. I think it was 3rd down where he had that big 44-yard pass to Travis Etienne. Parker Washington in the Jets game. Huge catch from Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is falling backwards. That was the catch that made people like drop their jaws during that Jets game. In this game, the 3rd down conversion that kept it alive, that awoke in this team, is when Trevor avoided a pair of sacks, rolled out, and Parker Washington was where he needed him to be, and they connected. I think it was 3rd and 8. And that was the play that was able to kickstart our offense and get us going once we got that first down. And I think that's something that, because I think we had a couple of 3-and-outs. So sometimes it could take a moment for our offense to get going. But when we get that first down, usually things start to pick up and they start to get going, because then they can start going tempo and dictating to the defense what's going on. And I almost feel like that's kind of how Liam Coen's offense operates. It kind of feels you out a little bit. But once we get that first down, then Trevor's ready to go tempo and just bam, 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 all the way down the field. And it's amazing how we thought this was going to be a run-first team after the Panthers game. Run-first team after the 49ers game, right? Where Travis Etienne broke that long one. And we've been, like, Trevor's dropped back to pass. He dropped back like 8 times. Not 8 times. He dropped back. It felt like 80% of the time against the Broncos, even after we were winning. And I don't know if Liam Coen is like shifting to a pass first. I don't know if he's allowing Trevor to check out of runs and go to the pass instead, or this is just the way the offense is operating. As long as we are winning games, that's all that matters. Because again, the thing that we're showing is like you can't stuff the box. And that was the thing. It was like the last few games, people have been, okay, we're going to stack the box and force Trevor to beat us with our arm. And he's been doing that relentlessly, right? And even Denver was pretty stout against the run against us. But Trevor kept dicing them up. Here, dicing them. So, and you know, and the defensive coverage is like, you could tell other teams still feel like Brian Thomas Jr. is the number one wide receiver. And that's why they had Surtain on him. And again, I don't think we necessarily need to have a number one, number two hierarchy. They're just different roles. And everybody's playing the role that they need to play in this offense. Jacoby Myers does the stuff over the middle, does the dirty work. Brian Thomas Jr. is the outside deep threat. He works outside. He's the big play machine, big play ability you got to keep track of. ETN is dangerous out in the flat because he's got the shiftiness, like on his touchdown run. Brenton Strange has a great blocker, great hands, so he can fake like he's going out to a block and then get down for a big gain. And then Parker Washington fills in the creases of everything else that needs to be done. And man, did Parker Washington do that this week. 145 yards. Absolutely insane. And it's all predicated because of that. And I think it's just the play action game that's really doing it. And a lot of times Liam Coen, like there'll be a lot of there's been a lot of drives this year on games that we've lost or barely won where like it's been like run, no gain, run 1 yard, now we're in 3rd and long, incomplete pass, 3-and-out, right? And I think Liam Coen likes checking into play action at first, because even if you complete a check down and just pick up 5 yards, that feels better because now it's 2nd and 5. So even if it's 1st and 10 and you check into a pass and just kind of use a check down as an extension of the run game, it at least gets the offense going, get some yards, and then you can really start to up tempo. So this is just a fantastic all-around win. I mean, and the fact that, again, going back to BTJ and Patrick Surtain, they literally moved Surtain to Parker Washington at one point. And Surtain fell down, and Trevor just missed Parker. Parker could have had a 35, 36-yard completion on Pat Surtain, but he fell. But Trevor just missed him. And even in a game where Trevor had a miss like that, like, again, if this game was close, that miss would have killed us. I would have been like, oh, what if? But it wasn't. Still beat him by 2 touchdowns. And like, you know, some pundits have pointed out, the defense played well when we needed to. Like we got that fumble, but like that back shoulder touchdown to Courtland Sutton, you know, he had the leverage and we had the pressure getting to him, but he had the outside leverage on the defensive back. This wasn't their best sound game defensively, right? Like Andrew Wingard missed a couple of big tackles on that RJ Harvey run. There were some plays that were missed by the defense that could have been had, right? That like of guys just kind of getting beat to their spots or guys just not wrapping up and tackling. Again, Andrew Wingard was an opportunity to take RJ Harvey down. He didn't. It led to a touchdown. So still credit Anthony Campanile because he's doing wonders with that defense. But the fact is, like, they could play better. And they know it. They came out of this game 34-20 And even Devin Lloyd in the press conference was like, I don't like that we gave up 20 points. Devin Lloyd, we came out a win. You just beat the best team in the AFC, the top team in the AFC by 2 touchdowns. And your takeaway as a defensive player is, I don't like that we gave up 20 points. That's the mindset of champions, right? Like, I'm not saying the Jaguars are going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but that's the mindset of champions, just not being satisfied. And so let me know your thoughts about the Jaguars. Let me know your thoughts about what we did to the Broncos, absolutely trampling them. And let me know your thoughts about these Pro Bowl snubs and whether the Jaguars have what it takes to get to the top of the mountain. And don't ever forget, it was always the Jags. Thank you so much for watching Always the Jags. Make sure you like and subscribe down below. Check out some of these other videos that I'm sure you'll be interested in as we chase Duval greatness. Thank you for joining us again, and until next time.